outside! It's going to rain!
The eternal Word, a light unto the ages, now revealed.
Did you know there was once a time it didn't rain? I'm serious. No thunderstorms, no dark clouds rolling across the sky. No one had ever watched rain actually fall from heaven. Now, I want you to think about that for 1 second, because it completely changes the way you see Noah. Because most people imagine Noah building the ark while everyone knew what rain was. But imagine trying to warn people about something they had never seen before. Imagine spending years telling your neighbors, your friends, everybody who you know, hey, a flood is coming. And then they look at you and say, what? Imagine building a massive boat in the middle of a desert, day after day, year after year, while people laugh at you. They mock you. They point their fingers at you. And then they talk about you how, man, you done lost your mind. Because from their perspective, Noah probably looked crazy. But the truth is, y'all, Noah wasn't being ridiculed because he was wrong. He was being ridiculed because he believed God more than he believed the crowd. And if we gonna be honest, a lot of us know exactly what that feels like. Well, maybe not on Noah's level, but you done tried to follow Christ, right? You tried to obey God. You tried to stand for something different, and people made you feel foolish. Maybe they mocked your faith. Maybe they questioned your convictions. Maybe they made you feel alone. Now, if that's you, then this story is going to hit close to home, because long before the rain ever fell, y'all, there was one man who chose obedience over approval. And the day God shut the door, everything changed.
Before the ark, before the animals, before the flood, there was a world that had forgotten God. The earth was full of people. Cities were growing. Families were being raised. Businesses were thriving. Life seemed normal. But beneath the surface, something was deeply wrong. Violence had become ordinary. Corruption had become acceptable. People did whatever felt right in their own eyes. And with every passing year, the distance between humanity and God grew wider. Most people never noticed it. That's the thing about spiritual decline. It rarely feels dramatic while it's happening. It just becomes normal, little by little, year by year, generation by generation, until one day nobody remembers what was lost. But there was one man who stood apart from the crowd. His name was Noah. Not because he was perfect, not because he never struggled, but because when everyone else stopped listening to God, Noah still did. While the world chased its own desires, Noah walked with God. While others laughed at righteousness, Noah remained faithful. And one day, God spoke, not to a king, not to an army, not to the powerful. He spoke to Noah, and what God was about to tell him would sound impossible. The wind moved quietly across the land. Life carried on as usual. Children played, people worked, neighbors talked. Nobody knew that history was about to change. Nobody knew judgment was coming. and nobody knew that one man had just been given an assignment that would make him the laughingstock of the world. The command was simple. The assignment was impossible. Build an ark, not a shed, not a home, an ark. A massive vessel so large it would dominate the landscape for miles. Noah listened, trying to imagine what God was describing, trying to understand why such a thing would ever be needed, because there was something nobody had ever seen before: rain. Think about that. God was warning Noah about a flood in a world that had never experienced one. No dark storm clouds, no thunderstorms, no rivers overflowing their banks, nothing. Yet God was asking Noah to prepare for something the entire world would consider ridiculous. And the longer Noah thought about it, the more he understood what obedience would cost. People would talk, people would laugh, people would question everything. Every swing of the hammer would become a public declaration: I believe God. And every board he raised would separate him further from the crowd. But Noah made his decision. Not because he understood everything, not because he had all the answers, but because he trusted the one who gave the command. So he picked up the first piece of wood, and before a single drop of rain had fallen, the ark began to rise. At first, people were curious. They would stop for a moment, watch Noah work, look at the massive wooden structure beginning to rise from the earth. Then they would move on with their day. But as the years passed, curiosity became amusement, and amusement became ridicule, because the ark kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. There it stood, a gigantic ship rising from the dry ground. No shoreline, no ocean, no storm clouds, no rain, just a boat in the middle of nowhere. People laughed. How could they not? Imagine walking past that construction site every day. Imagine watching Noah spend year after year building a vessel for a flood nobody believed was coming. A flood in a world where water had never fallen from the sky. From their perspective, Noah looked ridiculous. Children pointed and laughed. Teenagers made jokes. Neighbors shook their heads. Travelers came just to see the strange old man building a giant boat in the middle of dry land. Some mocked him openly. Others mocked him behind his back. Many simply dismissed him. Poor Noah. He's lost his mind. Look at him wasting his life. And through it all, Noah kept building. Board after board, beam after beam, year after year. The laughter grew louder, the ark grew larger, and Noah grew older. There were probably days he felt alone, days he felt exhausted, days he wondered if anyone would ever listen. But every morning, he picked up his tools again, not because the crowd believed, because God had spoken. And little by little, while the world laughed, the ark continued to rise, towering higher above the landscape, a silent witness, a visible reminder, a warning nobody wanted to hear. And with every passing year, the opportunity to listen was slowly running out.
Can we just stop for a second and let's talk about Noah? Because I think sometimes we read these Bible stories so much that we stop feeling how crazy this really was. I want you to think about what we've seen so far. God tells Noah a flood is coming. The problem is nobody ever seen rain. Talking about crazy faith, not even Noah, not his neighbors, not his friends, not his family, nobody. And yet this man spent years, no, decades, building this giant boat in the middle of dry land. Come on, y'all. If we gonna be honest, most of us would have laughed too. You know you would have. You would have been cracking up. You would have said, man, he crazy. Can you imagine walking up past this big old thing every day and the man telling you it's gonna rain? And you like, what is rain? I mean, you're watching this boat get bigger and bigger and bigger. Meanwhile, the sky looks normal. Not a cloud in the sky. The weather looks normal. Life looks normal. Nothing Noah is saying appears to make any kind of sense. And yet he keeps building. You know what I love about Noah? He didn't need the crowd to agree with him before he obeyed God, because some of y'all know exactly what that's like. You start taking your walk with Christ seriously, and suddenly people start looking at you a little different. Your friends start making comments, right? Family members start questioning you. People say things like, it don't take all of that. You done became too serious. You're doing too much. You're one of those church folks. Now you a Jesus freak. Anybody know what I'm talking about? The moment you start living by faith, the people who don't understand faith start calling it crazy. But here's what I learned on this journey. Crazy faith always looked crazy until God does what he said he was going to do. And Noah kept building, not because he had proof, because he didn't, not because he had evidence, not because everybody supported him. He kept building because God told him to do so. And that's harder than a lot of people think, because obedience gets lonely sometimes, especially when you're the only one doing it. You see, but what we're about to see next is the moment everything starts to change. Because after years of laughing, after years of mocking, after years of people saying Noah was out of his mind, something begins to happen. Something can't nobody explain. And for the first time, the crowd is about to stop all of that laughing.
Then it happened. Not rain, not thunder, not judgment. Something stranger. Animals began appearing. At first it was easy to ignore. A pair here, a pair there. Nothing more than a curiosity. But they kept coming. From distant hills, from open fields, from forests and valleys. Creatures of every kind moving toward the ark. Not running, not wandering. Moving with purpose. As though an invisible hand was guiding every step. People stopped to watch, children pointed, crowds gathered, conversations spread through the land. Some laughed, some stared, some tried to explain it, but nobody could, because nobody had ever seen anything like this before. Lions walking beside smaller animals, birds filling the sky, pairs upon pairs moving toward a destination they had never been trained to find, and one by one, they entered the ark. Yet even then, most people refused to listen, because signs don't change a heart that doesn't want to change. Instead, the ark became entertainment. The animals became a spectacle, another story to talk about around the dinner table, another reason to joke about Noah, another reason to shake their heads and move on with their lives. And life did go on. People still bought and sold, still made plans, still talked about tomorrow, still assumed there would always be more time. The ark stood ready. The animals were inside. The warnings had been given. And still, nobody changed. Because the greatest danger wasn't the flood. The greatest danger was believing there would always be another chance. And while the world continued living as though nothing was wrong, the clock was quietly running out.
Look at Noah! He's a liar! What is rain? Noah, you look silly building a huge boat in the middle of the desert! Look at it!
The ark was finished. The animals were inside. Noah was inside. His family was inside. Everything God had commanded had been done. And then, nothing happened. 1 day passed, no rain. 2 days passed, no flood. 3 days, 4, 5. The sky remained clear. The earth remained dry. Life outside the ark continued as usual. And you can almost hear the laughter growing louder. Where's the flood, Noah? We told you this was all nonsense. Look at him hiding in that boat. People returned to their routines, back to business, back to making plans, back to living as though tomorrow was guaranteed. Because that's the strange thing about warnings. People often ignore them when judgment doesn't arrive immediately. But while the world celebrated the silence, they failed to understand it. The silence wasn't proof that Noah was wrong. The silence was mercy. Every sunrise was mercy. Every hour was mercy. Every moment the door remained open was mercy. 7 days, 7 opportunities, 7 days to listen, 7 days to turn around, 7 days to walk through the same door that Noah had walked through. But nobody came. Not one neighbor, not one critic, not one person from the crowds that had gathered for years. The ark stood ready. The door remained open, and still, the world chose to stay outside. Then the 7th day came. The laughter faded into the distance. The sky remained still. The earth remained quiet. And somewhere between one moment and the next, everything changed. Because the time for choosing was almost over.
Now, let's be honest, because this is the part of the story that often gets overlooked. Noah had been preaching not for a week, not for a month, not for a year, y'all, over 100 years. That's right. I had to say 100. I want you to think about that. For over a century, this man was warning people to repent. For over a century, he told them what was coming. For over a century, he kept building while everybody laughed and called him crazy. And then finally, the ark was finished. All of the animals are inside. Noah and his family are inside. Everything is ready. And God could have sent the rain immediately. But guess what? He didn't. 7 days. You know what I find interesting? You think if you were there and you see all of these animals 2 by 2 getting on this boat, you'd say, wait a minute, somebody of higher power must be in charge of this. But you see, when the world's eyes are blind, you can't see. And that's what's happening today. Their eyes are being blinded. So God, 7 more days. Man, that says something about God. We're going to be honest, because some people look at this story and see only judgment. I see patience. I see mercy. I see a loving God giving people opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. Y'all, the boat is finished. The evidence is literally sitting right there in front of them. The animals are all inside. The door is still open. And for 7 days, nobody walks in. That's crazy. Not because they didn't know about the ark. The ark is sitting right there. The door is wide open. Not because they wasn't warned. They had been warned for over 100 years. Not because God hadn't given them time. They simply believed they had more of it. And if we're going to be honest, that's how people are today. People hear about Christ. They hear about repentance. They hear about salvation. They hear about eternity. And they say, you know what? Later on, I'll get to it. Later on, I'll deal with it. I got time. But the truth is, none of us know exactly how much time we really have. And that's what makes this next moment so powerful. Because after more than 100 years of warning the people, after 7 final days of mercy, the moment finally arrives. And when it does, Noah won't be the one closing the door. God will.
The 7th day arrived. The sky looked the same. No dark clouds, no thunder, no signs of a coming storm. Just another ordinary day. Children played, merchants sold their goods, families talked about tomorrow. Life moved forward exactly as it always had. And that was the danger. Because the most devastating moments in history often arrive looking completely ordinary. Inside the ark, Noah waited. His family waited. The animals waited. The silence felt heavy. The kind of silence that makes your heart beat louder Outside, people continued living their lives. Some laughed, some mocked, some pointed toward the ark and shook their heads. After all, 100 years had passed, and still no rain. Then, without warning, it happened. Not a flash of lightning, not a clap of thunder. The door moved, slowly, heavily. The massive door of the ark began to close. Noah didn't touch it. His sons didn't touch it. No human hand touched it. God did. The same God who had warned them. The same God who had waited. The same God who had given them year after year. Opportunity after opportunity. Mercy after mercy was now closing the door. And as it moved, something changed in the air. Because suddenly this wasn't Noah's project anymore. This wasn't a strange boat in the middle of dry land. This wasn't a sermon people could laugh at. This was reality. The door kept moving, inch by inch, foot by foot, until finally it shut. The sound echoed across the land. And with that single moment, the opportunity was gone. No more warnings, no more invitations, no more second chances. The door that had stood open for years was now closed, and nobody on earth could open it again. Silence, a terrifying silence. Then, for the first time in human history, a drop of water fell from the sky. The first drop struck the ground, then another, then another. People looked up, confused, curious. A few laughed. A little rain? This is what Noah spent 100 years talking about. But the drops kept coming, steady, cold, relentless. Soon the dust began to disappear. The dry earth turned dark beneath their feet. And for the first time, a feeling nobody had experienced before began to spread through the crowd. Unease. The rain intensified. Conversations stopped. Smiles faded. Eyes turned toward the ark, toward the door that was now closed, the door they had walked past for years, the door they had mocked, the door they assumed would always be open. The rain came harder. Rivers swelled. Streams burst their banks. Water rushed through fields and roads. Parents grabbed their children. Families ran for higher ground. Panic spread across the land. The laughter was gone now, completely gone. People who had spent years ignoring Noah were suddenly desperate to find him, desperate to reach the ark, desperate for one more chance. But the door remained shut. As the waters rose, the reality they had rejected for a century stood before them. Noah had been telling the truth. Every warning, every sermon, every hammer strike, every board, every year.
nations, we will perish! We will perish! There's nowhere left to run!
The rain pounded the earth, thunder shook the heavens. The world that once felt permanent began to disappear beneath the floodwaters. And somewhere inside the ark, Noah listened. The same man they mocked, the same man they ridiculed, the same man they called crazy, now safe behind the very obedience they laughed at. Outside, the cries grew louder, the fear grew deeper, the regret became unbearable, because there is no heavier burden than realizing the warning was true when it's too late to respond. The waters continued to rise, higher, 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 until the world that had refused to listen was swallowed by the judgment it never believed would come. And through the storm, through the thunder, through the cries and chaos, the ark rose above it all, carried by the very flood the world said would never come. The rain stopped, the thunder faded, and silence returned. Slowly, the waters receded, until finally the ark came to rest. Then the door opened. The same door God had shut was now open once again. Noah stepped out into a world forever changed. The old world was gone. The voices that mocked him were gone. The storm was over, and the first thing Noah did was worship, because through the ridicule, through the waiting, through the flood, God had been faithful. Then Noah looked up, and stretched across the sky was a rainbow, a promise, a reminder that even after judgment, God still offers mercy. And standing beneath that rainbow, Noah understood. The thing that saved him wasn't the ark. It was the faith that led him into it.
When you really think about it, Noah's story isn't about a boat. Man, it's about faith. And let's be honest, most people would have quit. Would you have quit? 100 years? 100 years of people laughing at you? 100 years of people calling you crazy? 100 years of people of people saying you're just wasting your time? 100 years of you hearing it don't take all that. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. You're doing too much. A little compromise won't hurt. A little sin won't hurt. A little world won't affect you. And yet every morning Noah got up and he kept building. Somebody needs to hear this today, because some of y'all, you're tired. You've been trying to do the right thing. You've been trying to live for Christ. You've been trying to honor your God. Stay faithful. And all you've gotten in return is criticism, mockery, rejection. Family members, they don't understand. Your so-called friends, they don't understand. Co-workers don't understand. People look at your convictions and act like you've lost your mind. But can I tell you something? I want you to listen. The world called Noah crazy. The entire world. Right up until it started to rain. And that's the thing about having faith. Faith often looks foolish until God does exactly what he said he was going to do. So when people laugh, keep on building. When people doubt you, keep building. When they say you're doing too much, keep building. When they tell you to compromise, keep building. When you're tired, keep building. When you're lonely, keep building. When nobody around you seems to understand you're holding on to your faith, keep building. Because Noah wasn't saved by popular opinion. He wasn't saved by nobody's approval. He wasn't saved by the crowd. He was saved because Noah trusted God enough to keep building when nobody else believed. And maybe that's why God brought you to this video. Not because you're building an ark, but because you're thinking about giving up. You're thinking about quitting. You're thinking about lowering your standards. You're thinking about walking away. And God sent me here to tell you today, keep building, keep praying, keep trusting God, keep obeying, keep believing. Because one day you're gonna look back and realize every act of obedience mattered. Every prayer you made mattered. Every sacrifice mattered. Every lonely step mattered. Just like it did for Noah. And remember, when the world is still trying to figure things out, the Bible told it first.